fighter, guys. So anybody you fucking put in front of me, he's got to work harder than me. They better run faster than me. And they better fucking hit me in the right spots, because if they don't, they're gonna piss me off. This is a rat race, but I'm no rat. I'm a fucking turtle, ninja turtle. So which one's your favorite? I like Michelangelo. Blades and shades, that's what it is.
What's up, guys? Greg Farley from the Sports Comrades. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscription and notification bell so you can come back and see more videos. If you like the content, let us know down in the comments. If you don't like the content or you want to see a specific fighter, also let us know down in the comments what exactly you want to see. Without further ado, we wanted to jump straight into the strengths of Tony El Cucuy Ferguson. The number one strength that comes to mind when I break him down, and again, this is my opinion and what I see that are his strengths and weaknesses. His number one strength is his non-stop cardio pressure and his ability to combine that with boxing, as you will see in the videos to come. Secondly, his expert Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, second to none. I would almost say Eddie Bravo, the work that Eddie Bravo has done with him is absolutely ridiculous. But it takes an excellent student that is free and free-flowing and able to combine all these things that makes Tony who he is. Last but not least, we have to talk about his weakness and his strength, one being his chin, and his weakness is also his chin. One is technical, the other one is just God-giving ability to be able to take a shot. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Now, if you can imagine, it would just suck. This is one of the first fights that you can actually find a video of Tony Ferguson fighting in some amateur, no name, under the table, probably you get $100 type of event, or maybe it's just an amateur thing or a pro circuit that is not so well known. But this guy, not knowing that he's standing in front of one of the people that would go on to be the number one or the interim lightweight champion of the world, I mean, it just sucks. It's a tough draw for him. But as you can see, as I already said, his pressure is ridiculous. And a lot of people never really understand that until they're in deep waters with him. The same went on for the Ultimate Fighter when he was on Team Lesnar. It was the same deal. You get caught with just absolute power in his hands, and that's a really underrated quality that not a lot of people really understand about Tony Ferguson. If he lands, you're going to be hurt. A lot of people kind of take it for granted, all his wild, wacky antics and the way he trains. For all the stuff that he does while he trains, he has immense power in his hands, and his boxing ability is superb. It may not be the absolute best in the entire sport, but I would venture to say that it's top 5. Again, you see the same thing. Immense pressure and boxing, and you see this guy getting pulverized. He pretty much, if I'm not mistaken, and even in the finale against Ramsey Najim, I believe that's how you say his name, he absolutely just stormed everybody in the competition with the same amount of technique and the same amount of power. One of his first fights that actually comes to mind against the Asian gentleman, his name escapes me, but it was, again, the same concept. The same thing. The guy came out with haymakers thrown, but he also dropped his hands a lot. And Tony's pressure and his fighting style to be able to stay in this guy's face and keep landing 1-2, 1-2. He doesn't ever go for a whole bunch of boxing techniques that aren't going to work. Tony does basics extremely well with extreme pressure and extreme accuracy all at the same time. And what happened is repeated, continuous, almost to the point where the man literally had to run away. And that walked him right into Tony's other strength, which we'll get to in a second, which is his immense Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But again, it's unreal how much pressure that he can put on someone. It repeats itself over and over and over again. And as you can see, this gentleman finally just couldn't escape the knockout punch. I mean, a complete knockout punch. I remember watching this fight live and being worried about the guy's health because of the way that his head hit the ground, but that lets you know how hard you actually got hit. The same went for Gleison Tibau, the same kind of power and accuracy and relentlessness walked him right into the same thing. While you guys have a chance, make sure you hit subscribe and hit that notification bell and let us know down in the comments fighters that you want to see get broken down. Back to the strengths. We got expert Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I remember against Abel Trujillo, Tony actually got caught, which we'll get into in a second. He was getting caught. But again, once he gets you on the ground, and I would venture to say, find some kind of clip, and you can again leave this down in the comments. Find me a clip where Tony let someone escape Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu closing. I mean an absolute show closer when it comes to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I don't remember anyone getting out of the certain situations once he locked it in. This is why the thing with Khabib is so interesting, because if he actually can get to certain positions against Khabib, he's going to close the show. And it's going to be a hell of a collision course on what exactly could happen. Same way for Edson Barbosa, where as you see the Darce choke being locked in here, he just has the same kind of go-to moves. The rear naked choke, the Darce choke, and again, you know, there's a few other ones, maybe sometimes a triangle, but really it's the same thing over and over again. He's known for the Darce choke, and every single time locking it in like just like a savage beast. It just goes without saying. Tony is one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners in the world. I wouldn't say he has all the accolades. I've never heard about him being in all those NagaCon type stuff, you know, with all those events going on. But it's the same thing repeatedly. He's walking you into the same elite Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because he's putting so much pressure on you. Now the paradox. His strengths and his weaknesses both boil down to pretty much the same thing. His strength is his chin. He is able to withstand a lot of pressure and damage and repeated, continuous, elite attacking. Abel Trujillo, while he may not be a world beater, I do remember the man being an absolute monster. The same with Kevin Lee. He gets a lot of flack for who he is, but he's a hell of a fighter. For how he carries himself, people have a problem with him, but inside of the octagon, he's a problem. However, it's the same thing. Anytime Tony gets caught, it's like he ramps upwards. So while it is a weakness, the way that he leaves his chin hanging in the air, he definitely has an elite ability to escape that and then turn the tide immediately back onto you. And that goes without saying that sometimes almost half of it looks like in some of these fights, when I went to really break this down, it looks like people literally have to hit him and kill him to get him away from them. And that is an extreme quality that not that many people are ready for. Last but not least, we got to talk about the fight with Anthony Pettis. I believe this was his last on-the-record fight. Again, it's the same thing. Tony sticks his chin straight up in the air, and this is where a lot of people want to see him and Conor McGregor fight, because it would be another collision course. But again, it's the same thing repeating itself. Tony gets hit, but you can't get him out of there. And if you do not get him out of there, he's going to eventually turn the tides. I really never understood the savage, you know, like face by Anthony, because he kind of let Tony loose. And once he let Tony out of the situation, Tony turned the tide instantly, and then it was right back to square one. The rest of that round, I literally remember after Anthony, did that, he was right back into the lion's den, and he was right back into the same situation that everybody else deals with. Tony is 28-3 for a reason. It's not by accident. Yes, he did lose to Michael Johnson, which is still a very, very strange loss. But at the end of the day, all these guys are elite fighters. But it was the same thing. The same basic 1-2, right on the money. You never have to worry about Tony Ferguson not letting his hands go, because he doesn't mind getting hit, and he doesn't mind laying wood on you. And if, pause, that sounded kind of strange, but if he gets you to the ground, his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is going to take over and end the show. So really, where is the weakness? Once again, want to say I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure anybody that you want to see broken down, you just leave them down in the comments. We'll try to get on it. Appreciate you. Till next time, work harder, comrades. I'm out.